Hi, everyone. So today we're going to talk about applying some of those trumpet voicing techniques that we talked about the other day, and also I'll get into coupling a trombone section into the trumpet section. So what I have here is 4 bars that would be, kind of a typical range for a shout chorus. Notice that this first trumpet here is pretty high in the tessitura. We even get up to a C here, and that's not unusual for lead trumpet. So, I want to try to use as many of the techniques as we talked about, but at the same time, I want to make sure that, there is an aesthetically pleasing sort of sound to each section. So, we can work backwards or forwards on this. I think maybe working backwards might be the best way to go, because remember, a note like this here, this A on this E flat 13 sharp 11, we're hearing that for 4 beats. So we want to make sure that that is a really, really great voicing, because we're going to hear it for a long time. So that beautiful sharp 11 there in the lead is screaming at me upper structure triad, and maybe you want to stop the video for a second and see if you can figure out which one I'm going to pick. And I'm going to pick an F triad to go with that one. So I'm just going to go ahead and right into the trumpet section. Look, it's just a simple F triad straight down from that lead note. Now, there's a couple different ways we could actually deal with this voicing. We could do this triad as is with the doubled lead down the octave. The other thing we could do is we could actually maybe make a chordal voicing in addition to the upper structure triad. But I have a few ideas about how this is going to go, and I want to actually keep the trumpet section with this double lead for now. So we're just going to go ahead and leave this upper structure triad of the F triad. And it's going to be, we know this is going to be a great sound because we have a sharp 11, we have a 9, and we have a 13 up there in the trumpet section. It's going to give us a lot of color. So let's work backwards here, and just sort of looking at this bar, there's just a couple things I'm thinking about. The first thing I'm thinking about is that this note here is one of the longer ones that we're going to hear, so I definitely want a good voicing there. Since I did upper structure triad over here, maybe I might think about doing something similar here. As a matter of fact, couldn't I just do that same triad, right? An F triad, or the triad off the 5 on a major 7th chord, is actually a really good one. So that's going to give us 7, 5, and 9 in the trumpet section. What if I did the same one over here? So in other words, I have that same lead note, so I'm just kind of actually filling in the same upper structure triad. Look, it has these upper structure triads in common. Let's see now, going from here to here, what are we going to do with this G? So there's not, we could go with a C upper structure triad, but I don't want to make this, I don't want to give this the sharp 11 sound, just from an aesthetic point of view. We could do a 4th voicing, but then what would happen, it would put the low trumpet down pretty low. Remember, we also have this idea of ambichords. So I think what I'm going to do on this one is try a sus4 ambichord. And I think that's going to work out pretty well. Well, actually, no, I don't like the way this is going to work. But there's another ambichord we can do. Watch this. I'm going to do a sus2 ambichord. The reason I didn't want to do that first ambichord is because that C in the 3rd trumpet would have been repeated. So I think I'm going to choose this ambichord instead. We still have the double lead there, still a 3-note texture. And we can switch textures. In fact, let's try that here and see what happens. So what if I did a chordal texture, or a chordal voicing all the way down? What would we get there? Well, I'd get this repeated note, which to me is kind of boring. That'd be boring for that 4th trumpet player. So what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to go ahead and do another ambichord here. So look, I have upper structure triad, ambichord, upper structure triad, ambichord, upper structure triad. So we're just sort of exchanging those 2 techniques. I know this is going to sound good. I mean, that's the thing. If you're using these USTs in the correct way, or ambichords or fourth voicings, um, they're going to work. They're going to work really well. All right, let's keep working backwards. I want a really nice sounding F7 altered chord here. So I'm going to think, well, okay, what are some techniques we can do? The chordal idea here doesn't really work so great because when we get to that third one, it's going to be a B flat. Now we could do an ambichord here. But I'm going to think about what would be the possible upper structure triads that would go with F7 altered. And so remember, you have to do a little bit of math when you're thinking about that. So F7 altered, the parent scale is up a half step. So that would be G flat melodic minor. The two upper structure triads are off the 4 and the 5. So if it's G flat melodic minor, it would be C flat and D flat. And lo and behold, this lead note that I have here is a member of a D flat triad. So I'm going to go ahead and just put in a D flat triad, and we're going to see how that sounds. Okay. Whoops. Okay, so just a good old D flat triad there. Here's an F13 chord. Got a G in the lead. Let's see, we could do a quartal voicing here for the top 3 voices, and then we get, we could do this. But once again, you know, you know, the aesthetics of the line is what we're looking for. That's not bad. So the fourth trumpet's going to be going. So the lines are pretty good. That's not bad. We could also do, there's actually a couple other things we could do here. We could do an ambichord here. Let's keep going backwards and see what we think. We can always change things later. So on the C minor 11, you know, once again, I'm going to think about maybe some sort of chordal voicing. Remember, on a minor 11th chord, there's actually 3 upper structure triads that we could think about too. So we could think about B flat, or F, or E flat. So that would be, you know, the 3 from B flat major, which this chord is derived. I don't really like using the E flat here though, because that's just the upper structure of the chord, right? That would be the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th. So to me, that one's not quite as colorful. The F and the B flat would be okay. But I had already kind of made a few decisions about this bar. There's a little neat thing that we can do here. Check this out. Oops. So that's going to be a B flat. So look, there's an ambichord. We can actually just move this structure around, and it works for all of these notes. Look at this. Oops. Ambichords all around. Here too, I gotta put in a B flat. So look, ambi, 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 chordal, and we have all moving voices, so that's really nice. So I like the way this worked out. I'll go ahead and play it. It's going to be a little out of context because we're not hearing the rest of the chord, but at least it'll give us an idea what the trumpet section is going to sound like. So that's pretty good. I kind of feel like this one here might be a little bit out of character because it goes into 4 voices. So I'm going to actually go ahead. Let's do this ambichord here. And actually, it's kind of neat because we have a little bit of contrary motion in there. Don't be afraid of contrary motion. That can, you know, make things very interesting. So there we have our trumpet section set up, ready to go. Now what we have to do is we have to fill in the trombone section and come up with a good coupling that's going to match the intensity of the trumpet section. Now, we've set ourselves up in a certain aesthetic for this trumpet section. Notice that the lead is doubled the entire way. As a trombone player, I gotta tell you, you know, I would be, you know, arranging this, tempted to just do a coupling at the fourth voice, and that would keep the lead trombone and the lead trumpet not only in the same intensity level, but the same notes an octave apart. It's already there, though, in the fourth part. So also, I have a pet peeve. As a lead trombone player, I don't like to play the same notes as the lead trumpet. It's actually more difficult to do than playing different notes. There's, you know, stylistic considerations, and also it's not as fun. It's not as fun to do. It's fun for the trombone section to kind of have its own sound and its own direction. So I'm gonna probably do completely indirect coupling here. So indirect coupling just means that you're going to pick, you know, one of the voices. In this case, I'm going to pick the fourth voice, and then maybe think about subbing a note for that fourth voice. So instead of this G here, I'm going to go ahead and use our sub for the fifth as my lead note in this case, the 11, and that's going to give me a note that's very similar in intensity to the lead trumpet, but it's not the lead trumpet note. So it's actually a major ninth below the lead trumpet note. Here, to keep the line moving, I could do one of two things. Actually, I think what I'll do is this instead. Yeah, I'm going to go with a ninth there. So it's still, we're only a minor third away, right, from this fifth. So notice that's not technically indirect coupling. If I want, I'll tell you what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go and do the definition of indirect coupling, which would be doing the other sub. So look, now I have contrary motion in the trombone section. The only issue I think we're going to have with this is that I'm going to have to change my voicing technique here from this note to this note, but that's not a big deal. Here, I don't want to go up to that B flat, so what if I go back to the G? So the lead trumpet's going da 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 da, and then the lead trombone player is going boo 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 boo, right? Let's see how that works out. So this is an 11, subs for the fifth. What if I do drop 2? So there's my third, right? Next one down is the root. What if I sub in a 9? And then next one down is the 7th. So in the trombone section, you always must have a full voicing. You have to have a representative voicing that has at least the 3rd and 7th in it to give us that information. So it could be 4-way close, it could be drop 2, it could be a spread, any of those, just so that they're complete voicings. Because remember, we're supporting the trumpet section. So here I'm, you know, I'm not going to want to do a drop 2 again, because that's going to give me repeated voices or repeated notes in some of the different voices. So I'm going to go ahead and try to do a 4-way close here and see what happens. We would get this, which is not bad. The bass trombone's doing a bit of a skip there. Let's leave that. I might change that later. I'm going to do this one the same. Same as the first one. Do this one same as the second one. Okay. Maybe go back. And then maybe at this point, you know, maybe if this voicing is going to be the same, and you know, it doesn't have to be that way. We could actually change these. I might want to think about what my voicing is going to be on the downbeat here, and figure out how I'm going to get from one to the other. And also, you know, we want to make it a good melody. We want to make it a melody that the trombone player is going to really want to play, right? So maybe, what if we went boo boo ba doo dee ba boo da? I mean, I could even go to the root here. Let's see. Yeah, let's try that. So let's go put the 3rd there, And then why don't we have a voicing with the root? And then how about we go to indirect voicing, or excuse me, indirect coupling. So instead of the sharp 9 here, we're going to have the flat 9, right? And technically this is indirect coupling too. We have a root and a 9. Let's voice this one here. So I'd have to do something like this. Yeah, I don't want to do drop 2. I'm going to go back into 4, just 4-way here. What if I go 4-way with this? Why is it telling me that that's natural? It shouldn't have to do that. And this one too, right? I don't know why. Actually, it doesn't have to tell me about this either. I'm not sure why it keeps doing that. Oh, maybe because I wrote in that E flat there, right? Actually, yeah, we don't need a flat here, do we? I'm just going to take out these extraneous flats, right? We don't need one here because it carries through the bar, and we don't need one here because it carries through the bar, right? Let's see what that sounds like so far. So it's pretty dense, right? We have a lot of, that 11th sound in there, but that's okay. Let's voice this one. So what if I go drop 2 here? Whoops, too many drop 2s. E flat. Next one down, it's a 13 chord. What if I sub in that 13 and then 3rd there? So actually the lines look really good at that point. So here maybe I'll change my voicing technique to give me some lines that move. So I'm going to go ahead and go to 4-way. I'm going to switch over to 4-way close here. It's an altered chord, so maybe I'll sub in the D flat. And that's going to actually match that triad up there, isn't it? Right, if I sub that D flat in, that's going to help kind of couple these things together. And then we're going to put an A natural down here to complete our voicing. Okay. So I like the way this is going so far. The voices are moving quite nicely. We had a little, like I said, we had a little contrary motion here. Now they're moving the same. Okay, how about this B flat major 13 here? I have an idea. I think I'm going to do a indirect coupling, but once again, we might even consider this as a direct coupling an octave below the 2nd, which is actually something you could do. I'm just kind of thinking of it, once again, as a note that is pretty similar in intensity to the lead note in the trumpet section. And also I'm thinking about, maybe the shape of the line here. I'm actually going to create a similar shape to this, this line, but give me something that's going to be easy to voice in the trombone section. So I'm just going to go, maybe just go straight to 4-way close here. I think is probably going to be my best bet. Right? Beautiful 4-way close voicing. Here's another one. Right? And we could even do 4-way close here. Notice I'm not working backwards this time. I'm actually working forwards, but oh, now why did it do that again? Oh, because I put the flat in, that's why. Okay, we don't need the natural. We don't need that natural. Okay. And now here, this one's going to be cake. I'm going to go straight down and do this in. I'm going to put a natural 5 in there, just to kind of give us a little extra density. So here we are. Here we are. So we pretty much this entire time did indirect coupling, and we also did a little bit of contrary motion. That's fine. I mean, you don't have to necessarily couple note for note. You don't necessarily have to do direct coupling. I actually prefer not to do direct coupling. I like I said, I like the trombone section to kind of be its own thing. I mean, actually, we can listen to that for a second. So that sounds really good in by itself, doesn't it? Right? Let's put them both together and see what happens. I think that sounds good. Let's, though, to get a better idea, let's explode this out into the trumpet section and trombone section. By the way, I've kind of figured out how to do this. So I'm going to use my explode plugin, and I'm going to explode this into 4 stabs. And I don't think I'm going to change, let's see. I don't want to overwrite anything. The next dialog box is where the magic happens. So 4 stabs. And so what this is going to do, we're going to use existing stabs. So I already have a brass section set up here. So the first part, top part, is going to go in trumpet 1, trumpet 2, trumpet 3, and trumpet 4. And that should explode it all out. Now I think the only thing is it's going to copy the chords over, but that's all right. We'll just get rid of those. Cleaning up. There we go. Trumpet section, all voiced. Let's get rid of those chords in there. Oops. So I'm going to filter out my chord symbols and then just delete them. Okay. Let's go and do the trombone section. Hopefully, and there's no chords there, so we won't have to do that here. So once again, this is a note input. We go into our plugins, and I apologize if you don't have this on your Sibelius, but boy, it sure works nice, doesn't it? So we're going to go trombone 1, trombone 2, trombone 3, and then bass trombone. Say OK. And there we go. It's in the brass section now. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm gonna mute the piano, and we're going to hear this. Here we go. I'm excited. I think that sounds really nice, and it sounds much different in the brass, doesn't it? You really get that idea of that sort of shimmering trumpet section. Let's listen again. Yeah, and once again, I want to make the point that the trombone section should sound good on its own. And actually, by doing that, I just noticed there's an error right here. That should be an E flat, right? Let's hear it again with the E flat this time. I like it. Okay, so this is the type of thing that you're going to compose for your next assignment, and you're going to do one of these in your project too. So I hope that this video was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. See you next time.